What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Welcome to Fightful. It's March 2nd, 2026. WWE Raw is in the books, my friends. We got lots to talk about tonight. We got stuff on the show, off the show, all that good stuff. Leave a thumbs up. Get your super chats. Get your humper chats in. We would greatly appreciate it. Finally got our audience back, so to speak. Because we're able to live stream on Twitter again. Man, that was a rough go of it. StreamYard seems to have gotten it fixed. We've got Danhausen stuff that happened today. I think a much better showing for him. Lots to talk about. The main event segment, a title change. Just honestly, a lot to get into. So let's go ahead and get into it. Again, get your super chats in, get your humper chats in. We have an interview with Gabby Forza that dropped today. We're going to speak to Persephone this week. I got a very, very quick hit with Drew McIntyre ahead of his world championship match. So lots of stuff there as well. But WWE Monday Night Raw. Let's start off with the ending, the main event segment, so to speak. Like I'm like every time they are together or they interact, they being Punk and Roman Reigns, it's interesting and it goes well, right? Like it's something worth watching. It's something that, captures your interest. And they did that again tonight. Roman Reigns, CM Punk face to face. Main evented the show as reported by WrestleVotes on FightfulSelect.com. Check their Q&A show out from today on Fightful Select and WrestleVotes Radio every Thursday on Fightful Select. Just one of the great pieces of value you get there. I have loved quite frankly, the 12 years worth of burns that these two fellas have had saved up, of which we didn't necessarily get to see all uncorked last year, right? Like we didn't get to see all of that unfolding because they had Seth Rollins involved. They had Paul Heyman involved. There were a lot of other ingredients that were in that feud. So you didn't necessarily get to see a lot of the catty stuff that we're seeing now with Roman and Punk. CM Punk says that it's a good thing he's got bags under his eyes because he's got to carry Roman Reigns' bullshit for 7 weeks to WrestleMania. Hell yeah. I can get behind that. Now, CM Punk brings up like a piece of kayfabe that sort of is that I think they handled it really well. CM Punk, quote unquote, brought the Shield to WWE, meaning it was a part of a pitch for him to have a group with him from FCW in NXT. I think it was still NXT. I think it had just become NXT at the time. I can't remember. Who gives a shit, right? Now, the word always was that CM Punk wanted Jon Moxley, a.k.a. Dean Ambrose. He wanted Seth Rollins, and he wanted Chris Hero, who ironically was present for Brawl In. And WWE wanted Roman Reigns, who was, I don't know if he was Leaki at the time, but he was Roman Reigns. That's what matters. And Roman is very happy to remind him, you didn't bring me. You brought the other two. Ooh, I like that line. I thought that was really, really good stuff. I thought that one hit really well. Because if you know, you know. And if not, there's a good chance that you're seeking it out and trying to find out what it was that meant. But that's what it meant. CM Punk wanted Chris Hero, Jon Moxley, and Seth Rollins. WWE wanted Roman Reigns. Now, there's one line that I didn't like. CM Punk is like, I'm in your head. I'm in your head. I remember when Edge did this years ago. He would cut like a promo and he'd be like, I'm in your head. I'm like, if you're actually in someone's head and under their skin, why are you going to tell them that you're in their head? I would maybe not do that. But other than that, Roman Reigns says he's not CM Punk. He's a punk ass bitch to him. And then just uncorked some lines, bro. Uncorked some lines. He said that after he beats CM Punk at WrestleMania, he's going to send him on a John Cena retirement tour to make some money. And said really the only reason he's there is to pop a few subscriptions and to sell some tickets in Chicago and all that. Says that he's going to put him on that John Cena retirement tour, milk him for all the money they can, then send him to NXT so CM Punk can prepare the next generation. And then he can send them up to Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns can smash them too. And Roman Reigns' lines all featured we. He spoke, I got to be honest, Roman Reigns kind of spoke like a lot of WWE shooters out there. That's welcome to the big leagues. You know, when somebody moves from AEW to WWE, welcome to the big leagues, like they're a part of the company, like they're on the team, right? And CM Punk looks around him and he's like, who is we? Your cousins hang out with me, not you. Like you're alone on your bus. You're alone backstage in your locker room. You're alone everywhere. And after I beat you, I'm going to make sure that you're alone in life. But it's okay. I'm going to bury you right next to your father so you won't be alone anymore. Damn. What a line. Dave Koss says, I know the last line will be highlighted, but I think sneakily Roman worked Punk when you break it down line for line. Good stuff all around. I do too. I think that Roman Reigns out-promoed CM Punk again. Last line was good, but the man, we're going to send you on the retirement tour, and I think that worked really well. The CM Punk trying to take credit for Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns being like, you don't deserve any credit from me. You don't deserve any applause for bringing me up because you didn't want me up. You wanted the other guys up, and look who the one here is facing you. I felt like Roman Reigns got the better of him again. Not to say that Punk did poorly or anything like that. I thought he was fine in this. Of course, the last line is going to be a pivotal point in this storyline. It's going to be a major point of emphasis. It's going to be a major point of emotion as you saw Roman Reigns react to it after the fact. Like, that stuff is going to be very, very important to the direction of this feud and the emotion behind it, because Roman Reigns says he does hate CM Punk, but he hates him even more because he's got that championship, and that's not the responsibility that CM Punk can handle, which is interesting. I'm surprised CM Punk didn't say, responsibility, you're never here. And I know he's kind of brought that up a few times, but you know, I do expect a how lovely of you to show up type of thing from Roman Reigns or from CM Punk about Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is not there a lot. Now he's going to be there a lot more over the next 7 weeks or so. I can't remember what exactly his dates are. Let me see. Roman Reigns dates. Let's see. March 2nd, March 16th, 23rd, 30th, 13th, 18th, 19th. So after next week, he's going to be at 3 straight Raws. He'll be off a Raw, and then he'll be on one. So after next week, he misses 1 Raw until WrestleMania. Okay. And I think next week, I mean, they can't like say, oh, we're keeping him out of the building. His schedule was already set or something like that. I would love it if they said Roman Reigns asked to be here tonight, and Adam Pearce thought maybe he needed some time to cool off, which I don't know. Maybe a week is enough, right? But I think that promo was very good. Like they are promoing the hell out of this, and they're doing a good job. Can they sustain it over like 5 or 6 weeks? Well, TBD there, but I think that they're doing a very good job so far. Tell you what else is doing a great job. mengotomars.com. They never teach you this in school. When you hit your mid-30s, everything's going to feel harder, not just the gym stuff, but like everything. The same diet that used to keep you lean, you're going to be soft for no reason. Energy crashes at like 2 p.m. You need naps throughout the day. That's not supposed to happen in your mid-30s. You look into ways to get your testosterone up, and naturally you go down the internet rabbit hole. You're trying to figure out what's wrong with you. You Google symptoms. You feel like a hypochondriac. Low T keep coming up. Doctors are acting like, oh, TRT is no big deal. Just get weekly shots the rest of your life. Cool. You dig deeper into what you're signing up for. It's like $3,000 a year. You shut down your body's natural production. That's not fun. That's scary. There's also the fertility thing. What if you still want kids? But then you look into things like mengotomars.com. No synthetics, no needles, no dependency. You hit the reset button on your hormone factory instead of shutting it down. It's got real, natural ingredients that support healthy T levels, stamina, and recovery. It's going to give you the benefits without the scary long-term stuff, and you're going to feel great. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. And for a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that Fightful sent you. mengotomars.com. Let's talk about the next most talked about thing. Danhausen. Very nice, very evil, and also a very good bounce back. So, yeah, boys at FightfulSelect.com had a very extensive update. Go check it out. But one of the things we noted was that a person that we talked to felt like the reaction would actually play well into him tonight. And I think that it really did. Danhausen got booed like crazy. He shows up. He calls Adam Pearce Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then has a very damp list of Demandhausens as he debuted to what he said was a rousing applause. Now, the demands, let me find the list of demands. One was a blimp, of course. One was a picture of Triple H pointing at him. He wanted a personal assistant and a Hall of Fame induction after his thunderous applause. And Adam Pearce says, why is it so wet? He goes, I dropped it in the toilet. You would think that Danhausen personally showed up and punted everybody's dog through a window the way that people act about him. Listen, Akira Tozawa's been around for like a decade. R-Truth has been around for almost 2 decades. Santino ain't there anymore. R-Truth is a lot closer to the end than he is the beginning. You need comedic wrestlers. And I know some people say, no, the hell you do. It's WWE. They're going to use comedic wrestlers. They're going to use people in this role. If he only does backstage stuff, well, I thought that was a pretty good use of Karrion Kross, even though he wasn't a comedic performer. There was a lot of benefit to what Karrion Kross was doing backstage last year. We got a little taste of that with Judgment Day backstage, which again we'll circle back to that. But Danhausen curses Dominik for talking trash about him, and well, Dominik lost his championship tonight. Galron Rolt says Danhausen is 1-0 with his curses. A good start. Fid McAwesome, who does some great interviews with Down Under the Ring and Fightful, says, glad to see the opinion change in real time for Danhausen. All it took is one great segment. Love that Danhausen. Yes, and I think the way they debuted him was bad. And a part of our update was that people didn't know in the company, like, why would you do that? Why would you hype it up like that? I know you got to sell subscriptions, you got to sell some tickets and all that, but that's making him, that is forcing him into a real uphill battle. You come out of a box and my God, it was lovely that his wife was able to be one of the girl Housens. And I got to be real, man. Most of the stuff we were posting about Danhausen this weekend was just doing numbers. It was pretty wild. Like, people were wanting to talk about Danhausen, good, bad, and different. A lot of likes on those posts. Danhausen was doing good work for us this weekend on the socials. And we are seeing some of the adjustment, the changes. Shotgun Sean says, Danhausen F'd Dom, give that man a blimp, TKO. I would like to see him, like, getting some of the things that he wants throughout the week or throughout the weeks. Lord Zypher says, love that we are getting the curse over. More of this, please. Does not need to be as extreme as losing a title every time, but that was good stuff. I kind of wanted that to happen with Toni Storm in AEW, where there was like the curse of Toni Storm and people's careers went downhill after losing to her in major matches, that, you know, you will live in mediocrity. With Danhausen, it's much funnier. And it will naturally create a couple of feuds as well, where people legitimately blame him for being cursed. MRE says, is Danhausen being hired to make Punk happy, somewhat like Carson Palmer, demanding John Kitna being the backup because he was funny? Well, boy, you really hit my wheelhouse there with the Bengals reference. So good on you for that one, first off. But yes, they're buddies. Yes, CM Punk would have certainly went to bat for him, for sure. But how should I say this? John Kitna never did anything for the Bengals after 2003 worth a damn. So I got to say that I think Danhausen will draw more money than John Kitna did for the Bengals at that point. But that is a funny comparison. Dave Koss says, actually, Fid McAwesome says, will Rock the Dwayne Johnson give Danhausen a new PT Cruiser as a signing bonus like he did the sword to Drew? It would be kind of funny if they made that a bit where he slowly started to get the things that he asked for. Even if the Hall of Fame induction is like something completely ridiculous, like it didn't have to be a WWE Hall of Fame induction. You know what I mean? One of those. Somebody says, and Hobbs is where? Well, he's on Where's Your Story with Stephanie McMahon. They are playing the hell out of those. They definitely want to play him up as a sympathetic character. They do have plans for him. I just don't know what those plans are. Tim Traver, our good friend, says, this Friday is my 39th birthday. Support original content. Yes, thank you so much, Tim. And first off, happy birthday to you, my friend. Speaking of Hall of Fame induction, something that made me very happy today, Demolition, specifically Axe and Smash, also known as Mr. Hole-in-One and the Repo Man, Blacktop Bully, finally in the WWE Hall of Fame. Oh, man, this is one of the biggest holdouts, up there with Miss Elizabeth for me. Obviously, Owen Hart, there are reasons preventing such. But Demolition deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I know a lot of our audience is younger, and listen, I didn't catch the majority of I was too young. They were a Road Warriors Legion of Doom ripoff, and they ruled. They worked, man. They absolutely worked. They had a record-breaking tag team title run. And then after that, listen, I know the gimmick was goofy and all that stuff. I love the Repo Man gimmick. Skits and stuff like that. Well, like if you could go back and do it. Oh, my God. Yes, Cyndi Lauper should be in the Hall of Fame as well. But I mean, they had an incredible run. Now, they had a huge falling out with WWE. They continued to use their names on the indies. They had lawsuits that put them like in just really bad standing with WWE, especially the Vince McMahon era. He wanted nothing to do with them. But these are 3-time tag team champions that had, first off, badass theme song, especially back then. They had a record-breaking reign, 478 days. 478 days. Had a great finisher. The decapitation is what it's called. And they got another guy over. Listen, Crush should have been a part of this. Crush really should have been a part of this. Crush is vastly underrated for his contributions because they got years out of Crush. They never got quite what they wanted, but Crush ended up doing the Kona Crush gimmick. He did the Jailbird Crush gimmick. He was a part of the original Nation of Domination in the WWF. He went over to WCW, and listen, he was not great in the NWO, but he was a part of the NWO. And then he was in Chronic, and Chronic was cool as hell, man. I would love to see a thing where WWE kind of writes that, and on Darso's podcast, he is able to reveal that Crush is going in with them. I would like to see that personally. And he's no longer with us. But I know that like there's a posthumous Legends contract that he had signed. Because, I mean, all of them are going to be in 2K, which is also good. Congratulations to Demolition. And I'm very happy that Bill Eadie and Barry Darso get recognized while they're still here, while they are still with us. That makes me very happy. Congrats to Demolition. That Hall of Fame is going to start like midnight Eastern time. I will not be attending that, by the way. I'm not going to be doing that one. But I'll tell you what I will be doing. NordVPN.com/Fightful, by God. Watch all that WWE content with one Netflix subscription. Get AEW pay-per-views at a much more affordable price. If you're overseas, you can get UFC pay-per-views on Paramount Plus, which looks like it's going to be rolled in to something else now. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Click Get the Deal. And everything that I mentioned is on their very lowest tier. You go up to their highest tier, which is a whopping $6.33 a month on average. You get a $50 Amazon gift card, a fast VPN, email, credit card, ID monitoring, scam call protection, anti-malware and browsing protection, ad and tracker blocker, password manager, a terabyte of cloud storage, and Nord Protect. Not just that. A ton of additional features and everything in between. They've got tiers for everything. 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you just want to try it for, I don't know, WrestleMania, you can do that. Access it on Netflix. One account, 10 devices. Award-winning is NordVPN.com/Fightful. If you use NordVPN.com/Fightful, let us know in the chat. We would greatly appreciate such a thing. They had Dominik Mysterio losing the Intercontinental Championship off the curse of Danhausen. So, backstage, Dominik says that he wants to win it by himself, but he hopes that Finn Balor and JD will be there for him. And they said, yeah, of course we will be. Now, this match is a very WWE match. You know, they go into the timekeeper area and all that stuff. They do the arm breaker spot, which was like, that was the end in Lucha Underground days, right? Like, if he did that to Brock Lesnar in the Lucha Underground days, I'd be like, well, that's it. Brock's dead. His arm's broke. He can't do it anymore. That's how protected it was. kicked out of the Penta driver, which I think that's a slow integration of solidifying and legitimizing Dominik, is when he kicks out of stuff like that, you go, oh, he's becoming a real competitor. Like, of course he's got to cheat and he's got his buddies with him and all this stuff, but they are slowly but surely legitimizing Dominik Mysterio as a competitor, which I think is a very good thing because he's a very good performer. Penta gets run into the post with his shoulder. He's in immense pain. And Judgment Day is at ringside. Dominik asks JD to get the hammer. And Finn stops him. He's like, no. He wanted to do this himself. He wanted to do it himself. And commentary reminds him, yeah, he wanted to do it himself. Well, Dominik gets hit with the Mexican Destroyer, and Penta is Intercontinental Champion. How many opportunities at that title did Penta get before winning it? This felt sort of like an Orange Cassidy situation to me, where I think OC had 8 title shots. Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I'm looking, I'm going to try to filter out the live events. But I'm looking here. Damn, he lost to Braun Breaker on Raw in March of last year. He lost at WrestleMania to Dominik and 2 others. He lost to Dominik in April. He lost to Dominik at Backlash. Then about 5 months later, he loses to Dominik again. He loses to Dominik in a triple threat at Saturday night's main event 6 times, and he finally got it. Good for him. Good for him. Like, you always knew that with Penta, WWE had a lot of upside with him with merchandising and just his general crossover popularity, his look and all that. Like, you've always had the George Kittle stuff. He's an easy guy to market, right? He's got a unique charisma to him as well. Because if he wasn't winning this, I'm like, why on earth are we holding up on the Lucha Brothers reunion? I still think it's been too long. I don't know why they haven't interacted at all on TV. Sorry, I unmuted that and coughed in your all's ears. I apologize. Seasonal allergies. But congrats to Penta. He got the pyro and all that stuff. And I would love to see him just have absolute hampers on this show. Dave Koss says, mentioned to you on the hump that Penta winning the title and doing Finn Dom without a title made the most sense to spread the wealth. Glad they did it and couldn't be happier for Penta. Dave, you did. You absolutely called this. Also, here's a little behind the scenes story. I was talking to CJ Perry today, Lana. And somebody, it was Demon Diva, Issa, in the booth said that Lana, CJ Perry, was calling Randy Orton as the winner of the Chamber all night. And I thought back and I'm like, yo, Lana, CJ told me she thought Randy was going to win in January. I think before he even qualified. She was like I could go. It was, I think it was right after the Rumble. She goes, yeah, I think that Randy's going to win the Chamber. And I was like, all right, lady, sure. And it wasn't like an inside information thing. I don't think. Listen, might be. She's got the tea. CJ Perry interview coming up. Yes, I will be doing a CJ Perry interview coming up. Will be, for sure. But yes, Dave Koss, I'm very happy for Penta. Inflatable Carnival says, I watched Raw for the first time in years, specifically for Danhausen, who was the star of the show. Love that Danhausen. Yeah, I think that people saw tonight it's going to fit a lot better than what it appeared. And I would kind of like if some of the guys that are down on their luck, they go and try to contract Danhausen for curses. You know what I mean? He's like the APA, except he just curses people. And then if the curses don't work, they can go after him. There's a lot of fun that can be had with him. A lot of fun that can be had. Tell you what we had fun with last week. Rocky Romero interview. We talked last week's New Japan show, but we discussed Forbidden Door. We talked about his issues with New Japan contracts. We talked about New Japan venues. Like, Rocky is always very unfiltered in this interview, in these interviews. I was like, bro, what's Forbidden Door going to even look like this year? A lot of stars left New Japan. And he opened up. He talked to me about that. He talked to me about WWE acquiring AAA. Great talk. Check that out. Luis tells me that there's an interview with Kira coming up tomorrow on Espanol. I've got an interview with Persephone I'm working on as well. Lots of stuff there. Hope you guys will check all that out. Just a ton of interviews. Gabby Forza today. And then at the end of the month, I'm right back at Squared Circle Expo. I've still got stuff from WrestleCade in the can. Ryan Adams says Roman has got to mention Larry now. Larry will get mentioned, I would imagine. I would like to see AJ trying to run out there after him if he does, though. Gunther versus Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee attacks before this match. And commentary brings up a fantastic point. It says Gunther hasn't lost a non-title singles match. That is insane, bro. That is a little bit shocking, to be honest with you. And I thought he was winning this really quick. He powerbombed the tar out of Dragon Lee. And then picked up Dragon Lee. Like, extended it, right? And then Dragon Lee fought back outside. I thought that this was a well-played story. And then back in the ring, Gunther gets desperate and rips off Dragon Lee's mask and chokes him out. So I posted the graphic of Gunther ripping his mask off. And let me show you some of the things that have come up. Like this gentleman right here. If you want to come to Arena Mexico with no consequences, delete that post. And what I say, Moises, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. What I have learned today is that many people, especially wrestling fans, love to create peripheral villains because they have parasocial relationships with the people that they watch on television. Now, I did not book this angle. WWE booked the angle. I did not broadcast it. Netflix broadcasted it to a worldwide audience of millions. Dragon Lee agreed to the angle. Jason PS3 says, if a masked luchador allowed his opponent to remove his mask in order for his opponent to win, that means they know the risk factor of showing his face on TV. But I see people, tons of people, acting like big-ass babies on the World Wide Web. Delete this post, man. Not cool, man. They broadcasted it to millions of people on television. The pause button exists. How do you think I got the screenshot? I had people say, yeah, but they didn't zoom in on it. Do you think that zooming in on a screenshot of a Netflix broadcast makes it clearer? This is not Super Troopers. Enhance. Enhance. It doesn't work like that. Come on. Are we serious here? Just Another Vic says WWE has 4 white guys whose entire gimmick is appropriating Mexican culture, but you get heat for a screenshot. Yeah, by the way, El Grande Americano beat Rayo Americano. So there you go. That's us covering that match. OG Grande is now allies with Penta for some reason. Grande Americano says that mask does not correspond to the OG Grande, which Luis tells me is a direct reference to an incident with Octagon and Flamita from 2016. So there you go. You got that. But I had people, they weren't upset. They were pretending to be upset. Pretending to be upset. is the theme of the internet today. Here's another example. The Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, then Chelsea Green, then Piper Niven situation. We did stories about it. I did Facebook posts about it. I retweeted a bunch of the posts from, I think, everybody. And I had people saying, oh, kind of funny. Sean only is retweeting the ones about Jade. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? The ones with Jade are on my timeline. Had people calling me a fucking racist, saying, oh my God, he's outing his sources. Then I post pictures of me interviewing Jade Cargill multiple times. And I'm like, are you all this dumb? Do you think there is anybody at this stage I have not talked to on screen, off screen? What is with the pearl clutching because you all are getting upset in your feelings about an angle that got a little bit real? You don't need to create a peripheral villain and just make shit up about people. It's weird. We will have a full report on this situation tomorrow on FightfulSelect.com. I'm sure people will be very reasonable about that. But speaking of, you had Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley going back and forth on social media. It got more serious when Jade Cargill brings up creative. It changed up a little bit at that point, and they started to get a little bit more personal. Then Chelsea Green posted something about Rhea competing for titles, and then Jade Cargill goes at her. Chelsea Green goes at Jade Cargill. Piper Niven goes at Jade. Jade goes back at Piper. Rinse and repeat. But somehow everybody else is the villain in this situation for, I don't know, signal boosting things on a schedule. I don't know. Listen, those people don't go outside. I don't know what to say. But the people I'm getting saying, oh, if you want to show up at Arena Mexico unharmed. Well, first off, look at me. You ain't doing shit. Second off, I don't have a passport right now. I'm not going to Arena Mexico anytime soon. The fuck you talking about? Get a hobby, get a job, find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I don't care. Do something. Stop being a weird parasocial nerd on the internet. You don't know these people. They're the ones doing the back and forth. They're the ones agreeing to have their masks taken off. Obviously, if someone is being racist or bigoted, by all means, defend them. Stop being weird about these people. For the love of God, stop being weird about these people. Dave Koss says, Gunther Lee was outstanding. I really loved how they worked that match. He says, I could write a dissertation on that in-ring storytelling. Gunther is a master. Yeah, I mean, Dragon Lee absolutely played his part incredibly well. I thought he was done after those power bombs. Thought he was done. He fought back. I believed it. I believed the emotion of him at the beginning of the match as well. And then just sold the hell out of the end of that. Says they worked the crowd perfectly, sticking with the Mysterio call for the Mania non-retirement. I think, yeah, now that it looks like Randy's going to be doing something else for Mania, I think that there's a real possibility of Ray. Crashing Tonight says, hope WWE signs Eric Ademia and Kazoni. I would be shocked if Eric Ademia wasn't on a WWE ID deal soon at the very least. I think that she is going to get ID'd or signed, and because he should be too. I mean, he should be. Also, Rhea Ripley and Io have a segment where they're like hugging each other and looking lovingly in each other's eyes, and Rhea's like, I'm going to miss you, and says, thank you for bringing me out of a very dark period of my life and my career, and it is very sweet. And Io's like, don't you worry about me. I'll be fine. Like, she's like, go over to SmackDown and win that championship. Now, Rhea I think she's been in a world title match 7 straight years at WrestleMania, which really does speak to her value. She is the one at the top of the card. Io, very interested in what direction that goes. I think she becomes the wedge between Asuka and Kairi, maybe. Does that get on to Mania? It probably should. I think it should. I mean, I think they have always viewed Io as a person who should be on those types of shows, and they have pushed her accordingly. I had kind of been sold on the idea of a women's tag match being like a plunder match, but maybe they don't. If you're going to put Asuka and Kairi in there, I see a lot of people like fantasy booking Julia in there as well because they're all Japanese stars and the U.S. title, but I don't know how you make sense of that within storyline. You could listen, you script it, so you could. AJ Lee also shows up. She will be a fighting champion, she says. KE775 says, is Becky Lynch going to beat up Jessica Carr while AJ Lee is busy pre-Mania? I would legitimately love to see Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch in a match. I would like to see something like that as like a contractual demand. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think there's a real chance we see Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis. I think there's a real possibility that we see that. I mean, Nick hasn't wrestled in quite some time, but I see him standing next to Drew, and I'm like, he's a big sumbitch. He looks ready. It would make a lot of sense. What do you do with Jacob Fatu then? Probably maybe him and Sammy or something. Because Jacob and Drew also seems like a possibility with Sammy involved there. Dave Koss says, definitely don't want Seth and Brock. Do you think that's coming? I don't think so. It needs to be Oba. It needs to be Oba. Speaking of Oba, Rusev shows up and challenges Oba. He calls himself the Lion of Bulgaria. So at least you're getting a little bit of a nickname here. I think they did Rusev kind of dirty here. It just in the build-up. They had him off TV for a number of months. Shows up in the Rumble. Gets eliminated in 90 seconds. Next time we see him is going up against this big unstoppable monster. All right. Oba does show up and beat him up, but I do like at least the Lion of Bulgaria element of things. I like that. I'm here for it. I guess we get an official match pretty soon as well. We got Natty talking to Maxine during a commercial. I really loved the line. She said, take it from a killer. They tried to convince everybody was a bimbo. You're a bimbo trying to convince all of us that you're a killer. That's a good line. I was a big fan of that line. Was not a big fan of the booking last week. If I was there in the moment, I would have just tried to swap these around or extend it. Because doing the angle they did last week, first off, it's like, how goddamn hard did Maxine hit that post? How hard did people hit? How did she hit that post? Because she wasn't there this week, was she? Crashing Tonight says, do you know the new signings for WWE ID? I've heard of a few of them from the recent tryouts. How about that? That's what I can provide right now. I don't have enough to report the individual names, even though I'm pretty sure I know of the names, but I can't do that. But I did hear, what I can say is from multiple sources, is that there were multiple that were signed from the recent tryouts. There you go. Liv Morgan cuts a promo. She was like, sorry that I got signed when I was 20 and you wrestled in mud huts and wrestled in flea-infested rings for 10 years. And Luis brings up a very good point. It's like, Arena Mexico has the same capacity as tonight's Raw in Indianapolis, which is kind of funny. But yeah, other than that, it was a good promo, but there were no women's matches tonight on the show. Got lots of promos, no matches. 2.5 hours. They even had some time before the out, right? Why not just have a match? A squash match. Anything. A tag team match. You had Lyra and Bayley backstage. Lyra saying she's not going to allow Bayley to be missing out, not going to allow Bayley to miss out on yet another WrestleMania moment. No matches. I don't like that. Not a big fan of that. Plenty of women on the show. Rhea was on the show. Io, Liv Morgan, Lyra, Bayley. Who else? Yeah, you got Natty. Okay, we got the women's IC gauntlet next week. Into that one. Big fan of that. Who y'all think is going to win that? Let me know in the chat. And maybe you can put some money on it. If you head over to MyBookie AG on any given day, here's what you're going to see. Up to $500 bet back bonus for new customers, a 150% casino bonus up to $750, the ability to bet with Bitcoin, table games, live casinos, slots games, and the ability to bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. And you can do that with a $50 bonus when you deposit $100 or a $100 bonus when you deposit $200 with the link in our description below. No matter what sports season it is, or if it's pro wrestling season, you can bet on pro wrestling at MyBookie AG. Maybe esports is your thing. Maybe you want to bet on some entertainment. Maybe horse racing is your bag. All of it at MyBookie AG. We only want you to bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. If you need it, they've got a great support system there as well. But check out MyBookie AG, where you can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. They were spot on at MyBookie with a lot of the winners. I thought there was a chance for Balor, but they had Punk as the winner. They had Rhea Ripley as the winner. They had AJ Lee as the winner. And they had Danhausen, while he was still under AEW contract, as the favorite to be in the box. There was one underdog winner, Randy Orton. So if I guess you're CJ Perry, if you're Lana, you could have made some money on that over at MyBookie AG. We had the Vision. Wow. Look. Austin Theory made it here into the chat right there. Look at that. Right after appearing here. The Vision are interrupted by the masked men. They get the decoy win. Are these all Black and Brave students? Are these all like Rollins proteges? Because if so, that's a really good note. That's a really good angle to take. I don't know who the one that got his mask ripped off tonight, but are they all Seth people? Because they should be. Like him intentionally picking these people and then they help him out. Love it. And listen, a great commercial for Black and Brave as well. So Rollins stomps Heyman, who apparently wasn't paying attention. They're going and they're taking Paul Heyman away in a goddamn ambulance. And Jimmy Uso shows up because Jay got attacked last week. And Jay gets attacked last week because he beat Bronson Reed. Well, didn't beat him, but won a match that Bronson Reed was legit supposed to win. Godspeed to Bronson Reed. I know I've trailed off 3 times here, but has bicep surgery to repair his arm. And was supposed to win the match and go to the Elimination Chamber. They ended up doing a switcheroo and getting Logan Paul in there, and Logan Paul pins like 3 people. They had to change a bunch of the masked man stuff, as WrestleVotes Radio on FightfulSelect.com reported last week. Please subscribe and show us some support. But the changes keep going on because LA Knight kidnaps Paul Heyman. People said, how are they going to continue the Vision program? And I said, I think they get Paul Heyman the hell away from it. That's what I said on this week's Q&A show on FightfulSelect.com. Please subscribe. The most interactive platform we've got. I was like, I think they just got to get him the hell out of there, man. It's a lost cause. Like, do they do Rollins and Logan again at WrestleMania? They did it a few years ago, right? Now, if they had not done that match, I think it'd be fine. But also am I remembering right? Like, was Logan even there when they attacked Rollins? Or did he get added afterwards? It's just so random. But Logan Paul was like, Seth Rollins faced him in like his 5th match ever. And it has been 3 years, but you know. Yeah, he was added right after Corey. Shout out for that. I was just like, really? What's his beef with Logan? Oh boy. You also get Jimmy Uso versus Austin Theory later on. Logan Paul interferes mercifully here. And Austin Theory also cut his promo. I've got a theory, or here's my theory. The pressure. I'm like, man, there's something to Austin Theory. I just don't know what it is and how they bring it out. Like, he's so personable at these media events. Very, very personable at these. I've always thought that the Channing Tatum dumb jock role was best for him, like in the way, because he can be very lovable in that sense. But I don't know how they get this cooking. And yes, Corey, the commercial promo was good. It was good. I don't know. Get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. We would greatly appreciate it. We got Jay Miller saying, do you expect the Creeds to be a part of the El Grande feud? That's what I have been expecting. And it just hasn't happened. And I'm just kind of surprised that it hasn't happened. Because it makes all the sense in the world, right? And then if you add like a female Grande, then Ivy naturally, right? I'm surprised that hasn't went down so far. But yeah, I do expect it. A super chat that Luis missed. Why did Dom ask to get Denise the Hammer? Denise the Hammer Salcedo. That is an old school bit right there. Shout out to Cyclops is better than Wolverine for that long range Steph Curry Fightful reference right there. Think it will be Usos and the Vision for the tag titles and Braun Seth for Mania. If Braun is back, of which WWE seemed optimistic about the possibility of. But Usos and Vision, will that have any heat to it? I don't know. I hope it does. I hope that Jay is still at a position where they're still yeeting all that good stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how hot that angle is necessarily going to be there. I feel like they got to do something to fire up the Vision again. Rollins is like Shredder with the Foot Clan. Buddy, I am a Ninja Turtles guy. Donatello guy. Big Donatello guy right here. Huge Donatello guy. But I like the Foot Clan. Like, he's got a bunch of Dannies there with him, right? Hell yeah. If you all missed it last week, I had Sancho West on the hump. Incredible show. Incredible show. We predicted the Jey Uso getting attacked, Logan Paul getting added to the match situation. We also announced that AJ Francis will be my guest on the hump this week. He wanted to come on the hump. So I said, hell yeah, AJ, let's hump. Let's do it. Let's do that damn thing. Be right back here for WWE Raw on Monday. I'll be back here on Wednesday for the AEW post show. I took a couple weeks off of that, but I got the hump this week. Dropped a new show on Fightful Select last week, SRS 10, where you can watch the actual match on screen with us. And I try to find something that's like thematic, right? The first episode was AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels ahead of AJ Styles' retirement match. I did Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa this past week. We talked trolls. We talked about them not getting along. We talked about the match itself. We talked about what I did the night this match happened after I had dental surgery. It was a fun time. We're going to have probably WrestleMania matches on the next two editions, but it was a good time. Bruh, what color band does Donatello have? If I'm a real fan, purple, bro. Listen, if you can't do your martial arts with just a stick. So I trained MMA and catch wrestling at like a tradition, it wasn't a traditional martial arts school. It was an MMA gym. But the owner of it was a very traditional martial arts guy, and he wanted like all of us to learn like a weapon. And I thought it was the geekiest shit ever. But when he says to you, okay, I'll give you so-and-so months off if you at least learn this, I'm like, all right, throw me that big ass foam stick you got over there. And I learned how to use one. I was never a nunchucks guy. The sai, I was like, what are you just stabbing people? You're stabbing people. How's Rafael got those and he just doesn't stab people? Leonardo's got a freaking katana, a sword, and he's never just like chopped somebody's head off. We've never seen a beheading. I got issues with that. At least with Metalhead, like you just know he's a big piece of steel. Slash had the crooked knife, or not the crooked knife, the crooked sword, right? Casey Jones had a believable one, a big hockey stick. Hell yeah, brother. Like, you didn't see any bloodshed in the Ninja Turtles cartoon. What's up with that? And what's up with their concussion protocol? Do y'all remember Ninja Turtles 1? Where was it Raphael? They just put him in the tub. Which he is a turtle, I guess, right? He's a turtle from the sewer, so maybe that felt comfortable. But bro clearly had a severe concussion. And they just put him in the tub, and he was just hanging on. Michael says, sais are a defensive weapon. Okay, listen, you would probably know better than I, buddy, because I have no frame of reference what a sai is for. I don't. Secret of the Ooze is back out in theaters soon, though. I got to tell you guys, I really wanted the new Ninja Turtles movies to be live action again. I know there's a lot of stuff that makes it more difficult. And when Mutant Mayhem got announced, I was like, man, I'd really like for the live action to be back, right? I watched Mutant Mayhem. Oh my God. They did an incredible job. With that. You don't read super chats? You said that the Candace Owens, Erica Kirk angle was better. I guess. Yeah, sure. But the Mutant Mayhem movie was fantastic. I've not watched the show yet. But listen, I got to say this. Animated properties like that have been on their shit the last few years. It took me a long time to watch Spider-Verse because I was superheroed out, bro. I was superheroed out. I like Deadpool, and that's about it. I was superheroed out, and the Spider-Verse movies were masterpieces. Not just masterpieces. Am I Dreaming is one of my favorite songs I've ever heard in my life. So those were incredible. I was so salty. So I know someone who's working on Spider-Verse, right? Or yeah, I can say that. And it was supposed to come out a couple years ago, right? And then the writer's strike happened. And they're like, well, we can't release it too close to the other live action one. And I was like, man, are you serious? All I want is a new Spider-Verse movie. Am I asking for too much? This has been your WWE Raw review, if you guys believe it or not. Thank you to all of you. Again, please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. As always, I know that subscribing for wrestling news is a luxury, not a privilege, but I promise you it's a really nice privilege. We have a fantastic community. We have Q&A shows with me, with WrestleVotes. I've got a Q&A on Discord nonstop, exclusively for our subscribers. We've also got Q&A articles that go up every single day. I actually forgot to post one today, so I'm going to go post one right now. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, we're out.